Now we're going to look at measurement with weight and mass, and we're going to look at American and metric. 1 metric ton equals 1,000 kilograms, and that prefix kilo is a hint about the thousand. 1 American ton is 2,000 pounds. 1 pound is 16 ounces, and 1 gram equals 1,000,000 micrograms. That's what MCG is, and that's more of a medical application when we're talking about weight and mass. So now let's look at our conversions. If we have 4.5 pounds and we want to know how many ounces that is, let's set up some conversions for that. We do have a direct conversion of our pounds to ounces right here. So 1 pound is 16 ounces. So when I come over to the problem, I want to set up some conversion factors. So just like we have done in previous lessons, I'm going to start with what I'm given, which is 4.5 pounds. I'm going to put that over 1. And remember, we want pounds to cancel, so we're going to have pounds in the denominator. And since we have that direct conversion, I can go ahead and put 1 pound, 16 ounces. That's my conversion factor. Now recall that our units cancel, and we're left just with the ounces. So now I just multiply across. 4.5 times 16 is 72. I have ounces as my unit, and 1 times 1 is 1, so it looks like my final answer is 72 ounces. Now let's look at the next example. It again is American measurement because it's in pounds. So let's start with our given 5,000 pounds. Now again, we do have a direct conversion for pounds to tons. Since we're talking about an American pounds, then we're talking about American ton. So 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. So let's go back to our problem. Again, we want pounds on the bottom because we want the pounds to cancel. So that means the tons will have to go on the top. We know that 1 American ton is 2,000 pounds. So now my pounds cancel, and I will be left with a ton. So now when I multiply straight across, I get 5,000. I have my unit of tons over 2,000, and when I divide 5,000 divided by 2,000, I get 2.5 tons. And that would be my final answer. So there are 2.5 tons in 5,000 pounds, or 5,000 tons is equivalent to 2.5 pounds, or 2.5 tons. So now let's look at the next one where it's going the other direction. It looks like we're given tons and they want pounds. Again, let's start with what we're given. So we're going to have 3.2 tons over 1. This time tons is going on the bottom and pounds is going on top. We know that 1 American ton is 2,000 pounds. And again, the reason why I put the tons on the bottom is so that they would cancel and I'd be left with my unit of pounds. So now when I multiply straight across, 3.2 times 2,000, I get 6,400, and my units is pounds. And that's my final answer. Now let's look at some metric conversions, and I've included at the bottom of the screen some of our common conversions. Pretty much this is the prefixes that we need to look at, our base unit of grams, but then we can have centigrams and milligrams, just like we can have centimeters and millimeters. And the conversion factors are going to be the same. It's just the units that's different. That's what's unique to the metric system and what makes it easier to work with. So if we have 4,500 centigrams, start with that. Let's look for a conversion of centigrams to grams. So we know that we want our centigrams to cancel and we want it to have grams. And I believe we do have a direct conversion for that. If you look down at the bottom, we have 1 cg is equivalent to 0.01 grams. That's centigrams to grams. So let's use that conversion. So we have 1 centigram is equivalent to 0.01 grams. Now when I multiply across, and don't forget your units of centigrams cancel, leaving you with just grams, I'm going to have 4,500 times 0.01, which ends up being 45 grams. And that's our final answer. Now we're not going to do all of them on this screen, so let's pick a couple more to do. Let's look at number 18. We have 3, and that T represents ton. Now that's a metric ton. The American ton is a capital T. The metric ton is going to be the lowercase t. And we do have a conversion down below for that. It's the first one listed. 1 metric ton equals 1,000 kilograms, which makes sense because the prefix kilo means 1,000. So let's start with our 3 ton over 1. We have the direct conversion of 1 ton is 1,000 kilograms. Our tons cancel, leaving us with the unit that we want of kilograms. Multiply straight across, and we get 3,000 kilograms. Now let's look at number 20. It says 14 centigrams equals how many milligrams? So when you're going, you're not going back to a base unit like grams or your tons. Sometimes it's easier to go ahead and convert back to the base unit before you make the final conversion. We don't have a direct conversion factor listed down at the bottom for centigrams to milligrams. If you recall your prefixes, you might remember that it is just 1 decimal place to the right. Milligrams is a thousandth, centa is 100th. But if you don't remember that, the easiest way to do this type of problem, I think, is to just take it back to your base unit. So if we have 14 centigrams, if we take it back to our base unit of grams, I do have a direct conversion for that. I know that 1 centigram is 0.001 grams. And then I can take the grams and I have a direct conversion to milligrams. I know that 1 milligram is the same thing as 0.001 grams. So I have to do 2 conversions for this, and again, this is only if you don't remember how to go from centum to milli, but the easiest way again is just to go to your base unit. By the time I cross out all of my units, I am left with milligrams. So now when I multiply straight across, I'm going to get on the top 14 times 0.01, which is 0.14, and on the bottom I have 0.00, so I ran out of room, 0.001. So when I divide that out, I get 140 milligrams. And again, because centigrams and milligrams are sitting right next to each other in your metrics, centa and milli, then we knew it was just going to be a single decimal point move to the right, if you recall your prefixes. So we went from 14 to 140. But again, if you don't remember, you can always convert back to your base unit.